Great. Hello,
Hello,
Devin.
everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Nancy Mahon, who is the Senior Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility at Estee Lauder. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, it's really our pleasure, and you're doing wonderful things. I had you on the show a couple of years ago. I was blown away then, excited to have you come back now. Really, there are not many organizations in the world having more impact on anything than you are having on AIDS. And so give us a quick thumbnail of the great work you're doing.
Sure. Well, the MAC AIDS Fund is essentially the foundation of MAC Cosmetics. That's half of my current job. What is so terrific about the MAC AIDS Fund is there is a model whereby there is a line of products called Viva Glam, and the company donates 100% of the selling price of that product, and it has done that for almost 25 years. And what's been exciting from the social justice side is that as the brand has grown, the pot of money has grown. So this past year, we raised $48 million. So, I mean, that's a lot of lipstick. What's really wonderful from a social justice perspective is that, which is where I originally came from, is that it's clear to me that NGOs and governments themselves are not going to solve the big problems in the world, honestly, and that we need corporations in the game both because of their checkbooks, but also because of the way that they think. And the exciting piece of the world of AIDS now is that we have the pharmaceutical tools, basically, to end the epidemic. The problem is we don't have the right business plan in place. And so I think that's what, at this point, MAC AIDS Fund brings to the table. We just released 2 weeks ago in London the Lancet UN AIDS report on basically ending AIDS, and I was lucky enough to be on that commission. And what we all have determined is if we do exactly what we're doing now, exactly how we do it, we're not going to end AIDS. So what we really need to do is create a better business plan. So I think we're there as a donor, but also as a problem solver. The other piece of the work that I do is I'm in charge of all of the similar initiatives in other of the Estee Lauder brands. And that is creative and exciting because it basically allows me to work with brands like Bobbi Brown or La Mer and think through, okay, how can we create a product that will basically raise money to solve a social justice issue, but at the same time build the brand. And I think what MAC has shown, and other brands have shown, like Kiehl's, Body Shop has been very good at it, but basically you can use social justice work as a way to engage new customers and good loyal customers into brands and use it as a brand building tool. So that's the fun, creative part.
Well, yeah, it is magical. And I think, it's important to clarify a couple of things. I think when you say you're donating 100% of the sales price of the products, the Viva Glam products, to the AIDS effort, that means that the company is spending a substantial amount of money to produce those products and getting nothing back on them.
Oh, absolutely. It's paying cost of goods. It's paying the cost of selling the product. One thing that allows us to do that in terms of the brand's business model is we do not do gift with purchase. I call it good with purchase because essentially we don't give away anything to get people to the store. We also honestly use a model where we have a glamorous spokesperson. We're currently working with Miley Cyrus. And for them, for the spokesmodels, it's now also become sort of a brand builder for them. The bottom line is we don't really pay them, so the only ones that do it are the ones who are super interested in helping the world. And Miley Cyrus, honestly, has been awesome. We've had also other terrific, Lady Gaga, Cyndi Lauper. But basically what we try and do is leverage their fame, basically, to get the word out and to keep AIDS relevant. The other piece of work that we took on this past year, which was honestly kind of a leap, but worked, was we created unbranded content with brand dollars, basically, and we worked with a filmmaker, Andrew Jenks, who had a history of good distribution, and we created a film portraying 3 of the people who are actually in getting services from agencies that the MAC AIDS funds, and they're all young people. To basically say, look, unfortunately, we would love AIDS to be over, we would love to be out of business, but we're not. And essentially, we took this very high-level content and gave it for free to Netflix, iTunes, Vox, and it's been incredibly successful. So what's exciting to me is to continue to evolve the model of good works? And is there a way that corporations can underwrite unbranded social good content that both, again, builds their brands in some indirect way, but also gets the word out? Because I think the other thing, quite honestly, and again, I worked at NGOs, I work with George Soros' foundation, we're not very good at creating compelling content. We're not really good at marketing unpopular ideas. And companies spend all of their time thinking about how to get people into a store, how to keep them there, how to make the biggest sale, and how to keep them coming back really quickly. And that's what we basically need in the good workspace.
It's a powerful insight, trying to take from the corporate world those insights and applying them in the nonprofit arena. But really what I want to focus on today is how you make money out of this. And I don't mean to sound so dang cynical, but the reality is, if you didn't feel like Estee Lauder got something from this, you couldn't do it forever. And certainly not at the scale you're doing it. And to put your scale in context, I think you told me last time that Estee Lauder is the second largest funder in the AIDS fight in the world after the Gates Foundation, which is an amazing statistic, an incredible reference point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the business model is this. I think corporations know that people have a choice. You know, we sell lipstick and eyeshadow, and we'll go to the mat saying it's the best one, it's the best packaging, it's the best colors, it's the best quality, and we do feel that. But at the end of the day, what we're seeing is consumers, particularly women, but also men, basically buy more stuff and are more likely to go to companies where they have good ethical practices, basically. The first thing that people care about is that you do your business ethically. So if you're dumping chemicals and giving away money, they tend not to really to go to you. But if you do your business ethically and essentially pay your workers well, that's the second issue, is how do you treat your employees? And we have actually the lowest turnover rate in the cosmetic industry. And then the third is, well, hey, what are you doing for the world? And we find that it both attracts new customers and good customers, but it also allows us to keep really talented employees, because what we're seeing in every single age group is this really matters to employees. And they don't want to just sell lipstick, they want to sell lipstick and do some good. And so that's where we see a competitive advantage. Now, part of the issue is metrics are a little soft on some of this stuff. I think it's fair to say it's part of our special sauce, and I think what we've decided is it's so much part of our special sauce and our DNA that we don't want to take it out of the brand. The bigger challenge now is, how do you add a program like that to a brand that's already created? And can you bring in additional customers? And our preliminary data says you actually can, as long as the cause relates to the underlying business. So we created a urban gardening program, community gardens at Joe Malone, and we have similar data showing that it brings in new customers, it brings in loyal customers, and they come back more and they buy more. So I think what's great is it's really a form of consumer activism. So what I would say to all of your listeners and all of your, I guess you could be a digital reader, right? You're a digital watcher, is that you should really vote with your dollars. You should really, go to ethical companies, buy their stuff, and then write a letter or an email or whatever, and tell us that that's why you buy our stuff.
Well, it's really powerful to think about the success you're having as a company because of the work you're doing. But one of the things that I think what you're saying, in part, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, you help me understand, but I think what you're saying is that the desire to do good has to be authentic for all of this to work.
Absolutely. The other is the company, and this is something that Estee Lauder has done well and that MAC has done well, is you have to be all in, because essentially what we're seeing in many countries, unfortunately, is we're seeing progress in some countries and then I would say steps to the side or steps back. And where corporations can come in, and where we have come in, is when you basically talk to local governments and say, look, unless you change XYZ policy, we're actually not going to do business there, because it inhibits our ability to bring employees there who are diverse. It inhibits traffic, customer traffic. But I completely agree with you. I think the bottom line is the game has changed. So particularly social justice issues the internet, digital availability of information, the quickness, the democratization, I think, of journalism has all changed the game. The bottom line is you have to be all in on your business practices, and you have to be all in, I think, on your philanthropy in order to be best in class.
Yeah. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Tell people where they can buy Viva Glam lipstick.
Sure.
Tell people where they can learn more about what you're doing. Tell people how they can connect with you.
Sure. Well, you can always go to maccosmetics.com. We've got some interesting stuff there. You can go to any MAC store. And look, if you don't like the Viva Glam shade, don't worry about it. Just go hug a makeup artist, because at the end of the day, the 18,000 makeup artists across the world are what's selling our product. But you can also reach me at N and then Mahon at maccosmetics.com. That's N as in Nancy, Mahon at maccosmetics.com. And if you are a customer, tell us why you are, and if you aren't, tell us what we can do to make you a customer. And Devin, you're really like a digital pastor, so thank you for all the good work you do.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind. I appreciate it, Nancy. You have a great day. Let's do some good.
Okay, you too.